Hey guys, it's Dorr. I got Coach with me. In today's video, we're going to be going over like old school training videos from military and LE. We stumbled across these on YouTube. I've been watching them for a while. And we're going to put this stuff to the test, see if we can do it, see if we can measure up to kind of the guys that came before us. So obviously, you know, you can't argue with the results. These guys won world wars and knew their way around how to police a city. But I mean, as you can see in the footage, they were living in a kind of a one-handed world. You know, the Wild West wasn't that long ago. And, you know, a handgun fit in one hand, and that's just kind of how they did it. So
yeah, like our buddy Coch says, it's called a handgun, not a hands gun.
Yeah, as Coch would say.
He's only got one hand.
We should have had him up here. But we're going to go ahead and put this to the test, guys. Bear with us. Let's see how it goes. Up next. Hey guys, today's video is about training. You know, we're taking a look back at the way things were, but obviously, you know, we're still pushing forward. Things are still innovating, things are still getting better. And if you're living in a modern striker fire world, you know, dry fire practice is just as relevant and is a must even before. So if you're going to be training with striker fire guns, highly recommend you pick up a dry fire mag. When we switched from the double single action P226 to the striker fires at our last job, the dry fire mag was like the first kind of big step up as far as training equipment we went with. And it, you know, having to rack the slide after every shot is not how to train, guys. It's building training scars. It interrupts the training process. So check out Dry Fire Mag in the description below and we'll get to the video. All right, guys, so retro training. Way back in the day, you know, pistols were designed for static target shooting, and they had minuscule, pristine, you know, I wouldn't call them precision sights, but they were designed for standing still and bullseye shooting.
Yeah, when you start looking at the 1911 or even, you know, the military pistols before that, the sights are incredibly fine. And if you look at, you know, target sights, they're very similar. And target versus combat sights, as you know now, have a big wide notch and a big huge dot that you can just see under stress. You know, that's not what was put out before. The folks that were designing the weapons and, well, not designing the weapons, but making the requirements for the weapons were target shooters. That's how you showed how good a shot you were as a soldier, was shooting at a bullseye target, whether with a rifle or a pistol. And then, back in the 20s and 30s, you know, you guys can correct me on dates, but good old W.E. Fairbairn, he's a British guy, and he was working with the Shanghai Municipal Police, and it was the dirtiest, nastiest town you can imagine at the time. And he developed through, well, luck and
trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error. I mean, you know,
on the job.
You want to try getting in knife and gunfights pretty much every day for about 30 years? Well, I don't recommend it, but for him, it seemed to work. So he did that for a long time, learned all those things that were different from what you learn on the range, you know, front side focus, line the sights up on your bullseye, take it, you know, and squeeze the trigger. He was more like, yeah, hold it like this, look at the guy and squeeze and shoot, you know. And I mean, he didn't even put, I think he filed the damn sights off of his revolvers because he didn't need them at 3 feet. You just point shooting. So I would call him the father of today's actual combat shooting. He, during World War II, he taught all the special operators from UK, Canada, and the United States. Yeah, and those lessons were put to good use in actual combat. And then, of course, you know, peace breaks out and everybody goes back to the way it was before, you know?
Yeah, and as you guys can see, like in the footage, I mean, they were starting from absolute zero. You had static shooting, and for whatever reason, you know, at distance, you'll see guys proning out with two hands on a 1911 or a revolver trying to maximize effectiveness. But as soon as they got into inside of 25 yards, it looks like, based on the footage, everything was one-handed. And you see both on the LE side and the military side, and the LE, I think, played catch-up because the military is the one that was getting this, you know, during World War II. So in the 50s, 60s, you started to see, you know, them crouching down to make themselves a smaller target, become more stable. And then what you did with your support hand, because you weren't supporting the weapon with your support hand, so you can't even call it a support hand yet, varied greatly. And we're going to get into some of this and some of the other stuff that they were doing. And this was not random. They were actually teaching it this way. And again, you can't argue with the results. These guys won world wars and did great things. So we're going to go ahead and put it to the test. For today, we're going to be running 1911s, and we're just going to get into it and see if we can hit anything.
And see how well we do using our grandfather's technique.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do here. One-handed, up next. All right, guys, so back in those days, you know, pistol marksmanship was kind of a gentlemanly leisure activity, and that kind of spilled over into military training. So as far as basic training with a pistol, it was done very static. Guys were blading off, and again, going with that one hand. Just like so. You're basically doing a rifle qual with a pistol at this point. So we're at about 25 yards-ish, and we'll just see how it goes. One-handed, 1911. All right, guys, just like Coach did, we're starting off with basic, period correct static. You know, and static shooting was just that. It was just you and your target. The rest of the world did not matter, and this is where it all started.
All day long.
So yeah, thing is pulling a little left based on our grouping, but all in all, pretty easy. That's kind of the standard for a very long time. But as you can see in the footage, like as things became more dynamic and they started trying to come up with actual combat pistol training, things stayed one-handed.
Pretty close, yeah. One-handed until, well, one-handed at close range. You notice at the longer ranges, they prescribe going prone or taking a knee and using your support hand is what we call a teacup now.
Yeah, they actually did teach teacupping. That was something that was taught
there's the technique
at the time, which is hilarious.
We see people doing that now. And
yeah.
Oof, no.
But you know, they had to start from somewhere. They were still figuring this stuff out. And you know, at the end of the day, the military has big guns to do big things with.
True.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and give it a shot. All right, guys, so we did the stationary static bullseye one-handed shot from about 20 yards. Yeah, the sights on this 1911 are aftermarket, better than what they had at the time, but that's okay because we're done using sights. Yeah. We're all done with sights. So now we're going to get to the actual, you know, period correct combat shooting of for the time. And, you know, as you can see in the footage, we are not making this up. And, you know, again, we cannot argue with the results. These guys got the job done, and this is how they did it. So the idea behind the kneeling down or the crouching
is crouching.
Was to present a smaller target, and then also to kind of center your gravity, you know, kind of get that center of gravity to make you more stable. But at no time does the pistol come up into the field of, your sights come up into your field of view. Everything's down low. And so you draw from the holster and then punch straight out. My forearm is in line with my body, and I am just shooting from here, believe it or not. And then what you did with your other hand, because it's not a support hand, because we're not supporting anything.
Well, if it's off your knee, technically,
leg support, you could go with the leg support version or the yippee-ki-yay, which I, of course, will be doing. Coach can do the leg supported. We'll see if I can hit anything.
Yeah, let's see.
All right.
Let's see what
so as you can see, you come out of the holster, off safe, and just send it. It worked. It worked. What? It worked. What are we at? About 10 yards?
Yeah, 10 yards.
9, 10 yards?
That's a human target.
There's no way I can do that again. There's no way I can do that again. All right, let me try that again. So you're just standing around, probably chain smoking Lucky Strikes or whatever they did back then, telling funny jokes because you were still allowed to. And then, whoa, it's a crowd. Oh, I missed.
Oh, follow up.
I missed again. All right, way off.
You're still empty.
Way off.
So there was some luck involved.
There was some luck involved. Well, I think I slowed it down and actually tried.
So, hey, this time, Dorr, instead of, because in the films, they don't show any drawing.
Yeah.
So you already got the gun out.
Just
I already
got the gun out.
Hold it down at...
So we're sitting there, you know, lighting cigarettes with other cigarettes, telling jokes specific to your family lineage, you know, and then whoop!
Let's go kill some
Pull the freaking gun out. Then you do one of these. I'm high. There we go. All right, let me try that again. How's my stats, Coach?
It's looking pretty smooth.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Am I crouched enough?
I don't know, maybe a little more.
Maybe a little more? Get down a little lower?
There you go. One more weight forward. There you go.
That was a center mass shot. Oh, the dick shot. Oh, it's another center mass shot. I got this.
See, with a little bit of training.
Call me crowd control. All right, guys, so I went in full send, went with whatever we're calling this, yippee-ki-yay. I think Lone Ranger was in vogue back then. Not that he said that, but
I think,
what did he say?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little much.
Before me, man.
I only saw that movie once. It was a long one. Anywho.
It started on the radio and then went on to black and white TV and yeah, whatever.
So I had the hand way up because as you can see, that was literally something they taught. And then, but also they started to get a little bit more deliberate with their support. Now this waving hand, hey, how are ya, became a support hand.
A little more supported.
So we brought it down, we're kneeling, and they put it right there on the leg. So give that a shot.
So in the video, the training videos, they talk about like, you know, making sure your grip's right, you know, you're looking straight at your target and you're just gonna bring it up here. Either line of sight this way or bring the gun up just like this. Okay, either with your hand here or your hand here. Now, what did they get right? I think what they got right was they're squared up to the target. They're not bladed off. They're not doing any, you know, this is your natural point of aim. So from here, you just bring it up, you know, just, and we're empty. You only left me 2 shots in there.
Yeah, I wanted you to get a reload in. You know, those are the best reps. Those are the best reps.
So whether if I come here and just bend my arm, seems to work okay.
All right, guys, so, you know, we hopped up off the table. We jumped right into this. I swear to God, neither one of us have ever done this. We just saw this stuff on YouTube and had to give it a shot. But let's break it down a little bit. Like as coaches, you know, sending up the yippee-ki-yay, as we're calling it, completely unsupported op sights. He's going from guns straight out in front of him, off sights, you know, kind of point shooting or whatever you want to call it, to not even close. I mean, he's got this thing way down low, Old West style. And the Old West, you know, there were still Old West gunfighters walking around and kicking in the 1930s and 40s.
Yeah, they grew up on the old, you know.
And all of the kids, you know, and of that time, you know, radio shows, those penny, you know, dime novels, that was popular culture. And that kind of bled
where this would come from.
right into the greatest generation's combat training. So, but as you can see, he is his stance is wide. He is, you know, and as you can see in the footage, that they're very stable. And they're not just throwing that hand out. This thing is perfectly in line. He can bring it up, or he can do a lot of guys were supporting it against the body. And we've seen that in footage as well as punching straight out. We're trying it both ways and it is working. And we are literally at about 10 yards. That is, I mean, that's a big full E-type silhouette, but still, I mean.
It's a human-sized target, you know.
We're getting a lot of center mass hits. All right, let's try it again.
So let's see, just from here, just doing that, the yippee-ki-yay.
Yeah.
It's like I'm still squared up, I'm here. Right, we're a little high and a little low.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. So there he is. Okay, that was just over his head and then one center mass. All right, let's go ahead and put a new magazine in because I think I'm counting correctly.
There you go.
Because that's how we used to do it. You counted your rounds. And little side note, guys, this holster here, I was actually issued this holster.
That's like an
when
OG
I got the
Alice
SEAL Team 5
9 holster.
Yeah.
But it worked for 1911.
Yeah, it worked. We weren't in a big hurry for drawing back then. Things changed.
Alrighty.
All right, so now this one, I'm just gonna bring it up here, just kind of swing it up with a bent elbow. Mm-hmm. See, now that works a whole lot better for me.
Then try it with the knee support.
Oh, the knee support. All right, well, this one, hell. All right, now, go. Work that safety.
Yeah, gotta work that safety, baby. 1911.
Knee support seems to work all right
You're gonna
too.
want that safety.
And then, yeah. And then in the cop video,
Yeah.
they had like 2 hands up here like this. So in case this one got shot, you could just switch your hands over, apparently.
Yeah. If you had 2 hands, you could run 2 guns if you needed to, but you will only use 1 hand. All right, guys, so as you can see in the video, there's actually a lot of good information in here that still holds up to today. And as far as, keeping your feet underneath you, pivoting, not being sporadic, not jumping around. And in the Army video, which predates the LE one, they talk about how shooting, low down here is not nearly as effective or easy to do. And you have a tendency to shoot high, which we saw. And they kind of talked about the importance of, yeah, they're still crouching down, but they've got the gun up higher. And I want to go to my sights so bad. These are actually pretty good sights, but I can't. I got to keep doing just what they are, but they're just literally just punching the gun out, taking a shot, bringing it back. Punching the gun out, taking a shot, bringing it back. And that's not using the sights. And it's out, straight back. Just like so. And you get enough reps in.
Yeah, well, the one guy was saying that you have a tendency to dip,
Yeah.
because with the revolver, your grip's in a different position, which I suppose if you're transitioning from one to the other, you might find that. But honestly, we've shot, we grew up on autoloaders, so there's no dip, because that's where we started, not so much here.
Again, just, getting that center of gravity low, punching straight out, taking a shot. And telling yourself to stay off your sights. But you got to remember, those sights were almost non-existent on a Govey, on any Govey issued handgun at that time. And then they showed the pivoting. They didn't want you doing this, and they didn't want you, doing one of these, because according to the video, you're only going to hit 1 out of every 3. Where they got that number, who knows? But it did show them, pivoting back this way, or pivoting forward and lining up with the target and doing everything exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, I would concur with that. The only thing I would say is, if at all possible, don't step backwards, because you don't know what's back there. You can trip.
Yeah.
So, when you're pivoting, tend to pivot
Into
the threat.
In the direction you're already looking. And they talked the importance of, training scars. You're training on a flat, even ground, out in the real world, it can be anything. So keeping that in mind. But again, had the pistol up, and just kind of turning and just like so. Just punching it out, taking a shot. All right, guys, so that was just kind of a quick glimpse into kind of World War II era combat shooting.
Yeah, pretty unorthodox, but honestly, it's kind of surprising that we made as many hits as we did.
Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised in our performance. I mean, I literally got the guy on the first shot. There was some missing as well, but their advice, like the instruction in the video where they talk about, your rounds are going to be high. If you're shooting low, you bring it up higher. They were trying to get guys out of that, shooting low, Old West gunslinger stuff. Their advice on pivoting, that achieving that natural point of aim, as far as, keeping everything in line. Yeah. That's kind of the same stuff, we're preaching to this day.
And on the demo, it's like they're squaring up to the target, and they're keeping their center of gravity low, that weight forward. He didn't really touch on it, teaching it, but the demonstrations were there. And we teach a lot of that now. I mean, the finer points are different, but honestly, yeah, I mean, point shooting's point shooting, especially if you don't have decent sights on your damn gun.
Yeah, and the only 1911s we have all have good sights on them. We don't have a true Govey one, sorry. Something I've overlooked at this point. Needs to be remedied. Next time. But yeah, all in all, it's pretty cool just to kind of see where it all started. They were teaching the teacup for the two-hand, and that's definitely gone away.
But the correct thing about the grip, he said, when you make sure you get that firing grip on your gun from the holster, you have a good firing. They spend a lot of time on that single hand grip and getting it right. And, that's key there, because if you don't have a good grip on your gun, you ain't hitting anything.
So that was our first video, guys. We're doing on the retro, 20th century training. Origins. Yeah, the origins of it all. So anyway, this is Dorr with Coach, out.